Hello. So one thing to remember when you're shooting with the electronic shutter on the new Sony A7R Mark VI is you should never be shooting at ISO 400 or 500. The dynamic range is actually about the same at ISO 320 as it is at 640. So avoid 400 and 500 when you're using the Sony A7R Mark VI. It's very important to not use those two settings. All right, there we go. You know, let's just turn this off, bro. There's only once it's happened to me in like the last 10 years, but when it happens, you don't want to start taking pictures and forget your card, bro. What? You can't do anti-flicker shutting with electronic shutter? That's pathetic. Morons. Okay, let's do on, baby. Man, we need a lot, baby. Bro. You kidding me, bro? They don't have anything better than this? Okay, that's fine, whatever. Remember, if you're shooting with a studio flash, like with a remote on top of your camera, and like policy buff lights or something like that that you're connected to, make sure you turn the setting effect off so that your camera can autofocus properly. That's just a little tip. Interesting. By the way, when you have bright monitoring turned on, you can focus in a lot darker light. Okay. Man, I wish that you could adjust exposure in like a sixth of a stop. This is stupid, guys. Do they not understand that a third of a stop is a huge, massive change, and it's forcing you to have to edit your pictures later because they're just stupid idiots. A third of a stop. What a joke. I almost always shoot with negative flash compensation, so let me just put that on there right now. Auto schmono. Supposedly the auto white balance is better with this camera, but white balance and using it and knowing how to set it, I use styrofoam cups that I shoot through because styrofoam is color neutral. In fact, I put two styrofoam cups, a big one and a smaller one, nested within each other with a big gap between this big one and the small one, nested inside of each other, so that I can get perfectly clean reading of all the ambient light around me that's illuminating the subject. I go where the subject is, I point the camera in the cups towards where my camera will be, so that I can measure the light that will be shining towards the camera from the subject. Then that's how I measure the white balance when I'm taking pictures. Okay, so we can leave that for right now, although, you know what, let's just put this to custom temperature because I always measure it anyway. So might as well be closer to what I need. The only time I use auto white balance is if I'm doing something crazy like some pathetic studio thing where they have a jillion random horrible lights at some theater production by people that do not know anything about photography. And you have to use auto white balance just to get some bare semblance of goodness in your pictures. Okay. Boy, I don't really like that optimizer very much, but I guess I'll just leave it there. Now let me show you how I set up my creative look. A lot of people, as soon as they edit their photos, they raise the shadows and drop the highlights. That's kind of silly. So what's a better idea to do is just lower the contrast a bit. That automatically does all that for you. Then lower the highlights just a bit, and then raise the shadows just a bit more. So I usually do 1, 2, 3 settings, and then I usually have my saturation. Oh, and also people raise the saturation too, especially if they're lowering the contrast. So I know now some silly people like Ken Rockwell, they always say to shoot the saturation at the top. That's just so garish. But better saturation is one of the common things you do in editing anyway. Oh, and then also set the sharpness to 0. If you're using sharp primes, sharpness is a destructive thing that destroys your pictures. Always turn it to 0. And if you're using sharp primes, that's real sharpness. It doesn't even make the picture better anyway. It makes it worse. So that's fine. Clarity. You know, let's just turn that down to 0 as well. Okay, that looks good. Okay, we're just gonna leave all these things about the same. You know, I don't like the autofocus illuminator, but I usually have it turned off, but I don't want to ruin somebody's day in case they need it. One time I remember shooting a wedding, and it was dark, and my autofocus illuminator didn't work properly because of some setting I had, and it really messed me up. I still got some really amazing photos though. Okay, that's good. I pretty much always do tracking expand spot. Although since I don't have a lens on this camera now, I can't do it. So let me go ahead and grab a lens. Let me grab one of a couple of. I have a couple of Sony. There's one, I think. Oh, that's no. Actually, it looks almost the same, but this is not one of my Sony G Master 1.2 lenses, but this is the second version of the G Master 85 1.4. So let me go ahead and pop this lens on real quick, just so you can see something. Okay, good job. Perfect. There we go. Nice. Okay. So let me get back to the menu again. Focus area, tracking expand spot. Oh, stupid thing. Doesn't even let you set this unless you have your camera in autofocus. So dumb that you can't even set your settings what they would be unless you actually have a lens. Okay, so tracking expand spot. What? This is stupid. Why cannot I not do tracking expand spot and then change the size of the spot? What in the world? This is ridiculous. Well, anyway, tracking expand spot is still the setting that I do anyway. What? What in the world? Let me try this from the Q menu. Okay, so go to Q menu. What? This is stupid. Automatic AF. What an oh that's stupid. Okay, forget that. Okay, so I forgot. I didn't even realize that was a thing. That must be some new option for this camera. But let's set the focus mode to continue as AF. Now let's go back to this deal. Okay, finally, tracking expand spot. That's the one I want. Tracking expand spot. Perfect. Okay, there we go. All right. This is good. This is good. Human, that's good. You want that. Now, sometimes if people are swimming, you don't want to have the human subject recognition turned on. Just regular tracking turned on. All right, perfect. Nice. Wow, there's a lot of different things to go through. stupid. You can't even set this without having a memory. This is just the stupidest thing. Why is it that you cannot set up your camera's own settings for the buttons without having a memory card in the camera? That's just utterly stupid. Come on, Sony, you're an idiot. I mean, like, you did a good job on the camera, but the person that did that thing should be fired immediately. What? Oh shoot, my camera just went to sleep, I think. There we go. It's fine. Wow. That's cool. Bro, so many settings to go through. Come on, people. I hate it when you have Wi-Fi turned on, because then you have to turn it on in airplane mode just to get it to stop connecting to your camera, your phone all the time and all that. Especially if you have tons of different cameras. If you have tons of different cameras and they're all trying to connect to your same cell phone at the same time, Sony just does not know what they're doing with the Sony Creators app at all. Sadly, I've used it for like a decade ago even. Like to do really cool pictures, like a picture looking from the ground up in a circle of athletes, for example, multiple times with a wide-angle lens. But the way that they do it is just so unprofessional. You should be able to, at least the first screen on the connect menu should be pick your camera to work with. Okay, that looks good. And now sometimes I turn touch operation off, but you can turn it on or off by using the trash button anyway on the back of the camera while using it. Not while you're looking at pictures, just while using the camera itself to take pictures. So okay, monitor brightness manual, that's fine. Now, by the way, here's a really important tip. Always make sure that you set the monitor brightness manually to fit the conditions that you're working in, or else you will not have good pictures. I know so many photographers who keep their monitor brightness in the middle and they never even think about it, so automatically when they're out on a bright day, all their pictures come out blown out, because when they look at the picture on the back of their screen, it looks dark. So therefore they change the settings and they blow out the picture because it looks dark on their screen, and then they get home and all the pictures are blown out. It's because the screen looked too dark, but the picture was actually fine. So when you're shooting in the sun, turn this thing up. When you're shooting in a dark, dismal theater or something, turn it down. Only keep it in the 0 thing if you're in a normal, reasonably bright indoor setting. Okay, nice. Alright, yes, that's good. Okay, finally this is the default auto review off. I don't know why it used to be on, but bro. Okay, good. Battery health is good. Now, I always turn this to 2 minutes because I'm always using multiple cameras. 1 minute is way too short. 2 minutes is a lot better. Alright. No, wait, hold on just a second. Let's do off, baby. Let's do on shutter only. Okay, that's good. Wow, there's so many settings on this thing. Version. Okay, body 1.01. Lens. Version 0.01. Interesting. Alright, well, so that's how I set up my camera for the first time on the brand new Sony A7R Mark VI. I'm sorry, so many of those menus were just, we'd have to fly through them all. But I showed you the important things that I do, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.